Plaintiff Mary Geiselman says the defendant is an acquaintance of her granddaughter's. And when she first met him, he was arrogant and was flirting with her family member who was twice his age. Mary's suing him today for a four-wheeler and court costs. Defendant Brian Kern says growing up, his parents were in and out of prison, and unfortunately, he followed in their footsteps. Brian claims he turned his life around after he was arrested for stealing a car, and he's countersuing Mary for harassment.
Start with you.
Well, Brian is an acquaintance of my granddaughter's. He's not had any guidance his whole life because his parents have been in and out of prison. And
What type of kid has he been, though? A lot of times young people, they learn from the self-destructive behavior of their parents, and they are totally different.
Well, this one's not quite that way, I don't believe, because
okay.
when I first met Brian, he came off as very arrogant and very flirty. He was flirting with a family member of mine who was twice his age, and so I just don't think much of Brian since he's damaged my property and will make it right.
Okay, let me hear from you, Brian.
Okay, so, Your Honor, I grew up in Indiana. We moved a lot, and I lived with my mom. She was a single mother. My dad was in and out of prison, so was my mom, which kind of caused me to be in that same position where I thought that was okay. Mm-hmm. And it caused me to be in that same step. So I was always getting locked up and stuff like that too.
Yep.
And then
I bet you felt like it was kind of a badge of honor, didn't you?
Yeah, I felt like I was
in.
tough. I
Yeah.
felt like I was tough, always getting locked up and stuff like that. Yeah, but
and it is so unfortunate that in some communities, the young people take it as a badge of honor to go to jail. If you ain't been to jail, you ain't really a tough guy. You don't fit in. I might rob you every day. You a chump. You ain't been to jail. You haven't earned any stripes.
Right.
That's the way it's viewed. And in the upper or middle income folks addicted to drugs, their thing is a badge of honor to go to rehab. If you ain't went to rehab yet, you ain't really nothing. If you ain't been to jail, you ain't really a tough guy. You don't fit in. I might rob you every day. You a chump. You ain't been to jail. You haven't earned any stripes.
Right.
That's the way it's viewed.
Defendant Brian Kern is accused of damaging the plaintiff's four-wheeler, but he claims after the incident, the plaintiff and her husband started harassing him.
All right, sir. Well, I'm glad you are sharing that with us. Part of what we love to do here is educate folks. Y'all can turn the channel all you want if I start lecturing or whatever. I'm trying to educate. And with him, me and you are educating today. So thank you for that. Many young people do follow a pattern of their parents. Some go the other way. So how did you deal with your troubled life?
Well, one morning I woke up and me and my buddy decided to steal a car. And we got caught with the car a couple counties over, and I went to DOC. And at that point I was ready to change my life around and stuff like that. So I started getting connected with the right people in lockup, talking to other people. And I did a perfect program and I did 4.5 months, but they was about to release me, but I wanted some aftercare programs and stuff like that. So I asked for those and they said, yeah, we got this place a couple counties over. So I asked to go there just to kind of help me out and give me that extra guidance before I actually get released. I got into some programs there, anger management, because I was always fighting growing up too and stuff like that. I was never on drugs, so I didn't have to ever mess with any of the drug programs.
Okay.
So I completed the program 1.5 years later. It was a 6 to 9 month program, but due to family issues and stuff, I had to stay there 1.5 years.
But you completed.
I got released, and I was hanging out with the same people I was getting into trouble with, but I didn't do nothing yet to actually get locked up. So I caught myself and I told myself I got to distance myself from these people. Yep. So that's what I did.
How?
I was living in Syracuse at the time, and I actually moved to Warsaw with my girlfriend. She invited me to live in her house and things like that, and stuff's been going good.
Yeah, and you cut that mess immediately after that, right? She wasn't having that, right?
Right, no.
And you haven't been in trouble since, have
no,
you?
her mom's a techer and everything, so I had to stop that.
Haven't been in trouble since, neither have I. I did just that. Went to jail, came out, go back to the same neighborhood. And had I not gone to college and escaped the pressure, I would have still been there. And then not too long after going to college, I met my girlfriend, who that was 37 years ago, and she's been my wife of 33 years now.
All right.
But that was the second part that changed me, because I was still doing a little thugging on campus. I think I've said this before, and I'm not ashamed. It was wrong, but I was selling joints, everything to survive. My mother had died, never had a father. I was totally without anybody. So I did what I had to do, and them small hustles. That's when I met my wife, and she shortly thereafter said she can't be with a thug. And by that time, I was caught up. So I stopped being a thug, and I never returned to being a thug. And that's Linda Mathis told me that she wouldn't be bothered with me. Otherwise, I may have went back. But your girlfriend told you she wasn't gonna be bothered with a thug, and you've been straight since, right?
That's right.
So ladies, that's how you change these young hoodlums. So I'm not gonna be bothered with you. Use a very specific term. I'm gonna cut you off. No, go ahead, man. The exact reason for the repair of the four-wheeler you're suing him for.
Well, Brian came down with my granddaughters and his brother, and they were riding the four-wheeler around on our property, and he got on the four-wheeler with my granddaughter on behind him and was riding around the property and came over a little hill, evidently too fast, and he was driving recklessly, and he just ran right into the fence post.
Okay, you have the repair estimate. Sir, what do you say to this?
I say it's true all the way up until the point where she said reckless. Like, I was doing the same thing her grandkids were doing, and they were encouraging me to do it, and she was sitting on the porch, so if she felt like I was driving reckless, it's her property. She could have easily said something just like that, and I'd have hopped off the four-wheeler or not drive reckless. So I just feel
What do you think caused the accident then? Didn't everybody else go that same path on a regular basis?
Yes, Your Honor.
So have you seen that occur before with anyone else, or do you know of it occurring on that property at that location anytime prior to it happening with you?
Yes, Your Honor. I was actually not the first person on that four-wheeler that day. In fact, there's a video I submitted
Showing somebody did what you did?
Of three of us on the four-wheeler. So like
doing the same thing that you did?
Yes.
And did it slam into the fence post?
Yeah, it slammed into the fence post and then it
A
stopped.
different one?
No, the same one. But they never wrecked a four-wheeler that day. I was the only one that wrecked it.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So if everybody else was riding and no one else wrecked it, but you, when you rode, you wrecked it,
Right.
Sounds like you were doing something wrong.
Right.
So, or neglecting, that's what she's suing you. It's really called negligence. You were neglecting to drive safely. And your failure to drive safely resulted in the damage. If you had told me, well, this happens every time someone drives by that part of the road. There's been 20 accidents in 20 months. And I would say, oh, okay, ma'am, there's a defect there. He's not liable. Everybody's having a problem there. Everybody isn't driving bad. All right, sir. Well, I'm glad you are sharing that with us. Part of what we love to do here is educate folks. Y'all can turn the channel all you want if I start lecturing or whatever. I'm trying to educate. And with him, me and you are educating today.
Defendant Brian Kern is accused of damaging the plaintiff's four-wheeler, but he claims after the incident, the plaintiff and her husband started harassing him.
Your counterclaim, $700. How does she owe you?
She came up to me as soon as I wrecked the four-wheeler and like already started harassing me. Her and her husband, like they approached me and they're like, you're gonna have to pay for that, you're gonna have to pay for that, and just kept saying it over and over and over. And like I said okay multiple times to try to get them to leave me alone.
So you suing them for $700 for saying you're gonna have to pay for it more than the time that you thought they should say it. What did you think? They should only say it 2 times,
No, I'm not
3
done
times?
Yet. No, Your Honor, I know that. I'm
What
saying,
are
like,
you suing? What did they do to you to cause $700 of damage to you?
So after I left their property, they had people she had her daughter and my brother that was living with her daughter at the time. They just kept messaging me, you got to pay for it, you got to pay for it. And at this point I said, I'm not going to pay for it.
Okay.
And then it escalated where they
you have the number of contacts that they attempted?
No, I actually got screenshots of Snapchat from my brother.
How many communications do you think? Would you estimate it's over 25, 20? Let me see it. I can look and see over the course of time how many calls or outreach did they make? This is September 5th, September 5th, September 5th, September 5th. Hey, could I come by tomorrow to get my dog and my longboard? I just don't want to show up when the mom is there.
That's me.
From you?
Yeah.
Okay. She said you can come and get the longboard. She said not unless she's there. And one time gave me more than $100. I don't see it being so much harassment. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your claim is dismissed. This is not harassment, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Judge.